Hi everyone, Chris Martenson of Peak Prosperity here with your weekly update. Where do I start on this? You know, Janet Yellen, chairman of the Federal Reserve, was just out speaking again, basically lecturing everybody, mostly the victims in this story, that they should be doing things differently if they want different outcomes. Of course, washing her hands again, bringing them in that grandmotherly way that says, oh, I'm so concerned about the wealth gap, but we're not responsible for it. People need to work harder. They should be a little more entrepreneurial. Maybe they should think about educating the children better, that kind of stuff. When in fact, it's the Federal Reserve that has been mostly responsible for driving the wealth gap. So that's not even up for dispute. The only thing that's up for dispute is whether or not Janet Yellen is insane or criminally insane. Because her level of inability to connect her actions with the consequences of those actions is deep into psychologically damaged territory, sociopathy, psychopathy, something. But maybe this is just a part of the larger story that we're all kind of caught in at this point. Now, we're going to be talking about this at the Row seminar that we're giving April 6th to 9th. It's coming right up, a couple spaces left. So if you want to come to that, follow the link there and we can accommodate you, I hope. Just a few spaces left. So here's why I get a little upset at all the constant market jamming that happens. It's all the time now, right? And we know that the central banks of the world are busy elevating all of the financial markets, stock markets in particular, because the stock markets signal to people something that the central banks want signaled, which is confidence. Now, why would they want people confident? Well, because confident people will spend more. Well, how will confident people spend more if they're not earning more? Well, they'll borrow more. That's why they drove interest rates down so low, to zero and even into negative territory, because the theory was if we make money cheap enough, people will borrow more and spend more. So that's a great idea, right? Unless you're me or somebody like you who understands that, we can't constantly be borrowing more than we're earning forever. It doesn't work for you and me individually. So it doesn't work for you and me together, which means it doesn't work for a nation. It's just a bad strategy overall. And that's just on the economic front. So what we've been doing as a nation, as a world at this point, has been living beyond our means economically. That's what borrowing at twice the rate of your income growth means, living beyond your means. The idea is that the future will somehow take care of itself. We'll just do what we want to do now, but in the future, we'll pay it all back. The only way you get to do that realistically is if, and only if, you get rapid resumption of economic growth, which is the income in this story. So is there anything that we could see that might say we're not going to get back to rapid resumption of growth? I mean, besides the past 10 years or more, depending on which country we're talking about, of subpar growth, economically speaking. Or perhaps we could notice that countries that get oversaddled with debts and IOUs always have subpar growth. Or we could notice that if we wanted to really expand rapidly economically, we'd have to burn more energy. And every time we try and burn more energy, the price of it shoots up. Why? Because that's where we are in this story. Energy is no longer cheap or easy to find and bring to market. We're down to the hard, expensive stuff. That's where we are in this story. And my personal level of frustration with the story is it seems so blindingly obvious that what the Fed is doing is ultimately harmful, not helpful. And it seems clear to me that we need an energy policy that understands that the energy we primarily use is finite, and it might not run out tomorrow, but it does run out at some point. So we should have a plan for what we're going to do when that day comes. And you know, I go all over, like this has been my job for 10 years. Here's just a few of the tags from places. Here's one, you know, from the UN, from wealth conferences. I'm going to be speaking at a conference this Saturday. If you're watching this, so it's going to be Saturday in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. And every place I go and give these talks, I get sort of the same reception, which is a lot of people look at the data I give them and go, They tip their head to the side like a dog listening to white noise. They kind of just go, it doesn't compute. But it's really very simple. If you're living beyond your means for a period of time, you have to live below your means at a future point in time. So I borrow today, I buy a car, tomorrow I begin paying that car off, right? So if I have a $500 a month payment, I'm going to be spending $500 a month less on other things going forward because I wanted that car today. That's a simple concept, but we're doing that ecologically, we're doing that with respect to energy, we're doing that with respect to the economy as well. So those 3 E's, economy, energy, environment, that's what the crash course is about. If you haven't watched it, you should. Go to the website, Peak Prosperity, look up Crash Course, start watching it. We have an accelerated version at 45 minutes or so, and we've got a long version at about 4.5 hours. All the data you need to understand that where we're going in this story is insane. So don't fall victim to following the insane lunatics who are running the asylum. They don't make sense. Please don't listen to Janet Yellen trying to blame you for not getting ahead in life at this particular moment, because she is personally responsible, as is Kuroda from Bank of Japan, as is Draghi from the ECB. They are all responsible for taking money from you and me and giving it to a very small group of people and then blaming the victims. It's an atrocious, maddening sort of a character trait, but they all share it. So that's the world we live in. That's your update for this week. I am Chris Martenson of Peak Prosperity. Please come by the website, peakprosperity.com, subscribe to this channel, and remember, if you want to, come to Row April 6th to 9th. We'd love to have you there, because the only answer that we have to get in our lives at this point is to the question, what are we going to do about all this, ourselves individually? So with that, I'm Chris Martenson. See you next week.